What's going on, creatives? Back in August, we had the chance to unbox the YoloLiv YoloBox Extreme. It's now been 4 months since then, and we've been able to put this piece of product through its paces. So this video is a little bit different. You're getting a 2-for-1. We're gonna rewind time and unbox the YoloBox Extreme so you can see what comes with it. But make sure you stick around after the unboxing because I'm also gonna share my thoughts on what I think about this product. So let's get started. So if you're not familiar with the YoloBox, YoloLiv has been creating these YOLO boxes. As far as I can remember, I feel like they really became popular in 2020 when people were looking for easier ways to live stream events. I really like it for the most part. I always felt like they were a little limiting as far as not having enough HDMI ports, or user friendliness of it was maybe not quite there. They have drastically improved over the years, and I have not used this one yet, but I've heard that it is basically anything and everything you would ever want in a very simple, all-in-one live streaming option. So just so you know, this product was shipped to us from YoloLiv. They are not paying us to make this video, and they do not have a say in what we say in the video, but they were nice enough to provide us with this to check out. So as I'm opening it, you'll actually see here on the side some high-level stuff of what this includes. So this has a lot of HDMI inputs, actually 8 to be exact, and not 1 but 2 HDMI outputs. I'm excited too. Apparently this has external antennas, and I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but I know in the past we've had issues with having to rely on Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi signal not being great. So I'm hoping that by having these external antennas, naturally it's going to make things better. Everything can be live streamed in 4K. That's pretty exciting. A lot of the other competition out there is still just settling for 1080 live streaming. So that's pretty awesome that we can do real 4K streaming. So here we go. As you can see here, we got lots of HDMI. So again, we have 8 input and 2 out. So that's pretty awesome that you can live stream native 4K with up to 5 cameras. We have an Ethernet port. We have 2 USB-C. We have 2 mic lines. So that's pretty nice. So if you're running mics from different places, you got 2 options. Type USB-C as well. And then it looks like it's actually powered by type USB-C. And then on our bottom, we have an SD card slot. So I'm guessing so you can record internally, whatever you mix. A SIM card, that's pretty nice to have if you want to just run the internet straight through here. And then we have our audio out, so you can plug in some headphones. And then our power. So let's go ahead and power this on. And while that's powering up, we will see what else we have inside of here. So here's a QR code to join their Facebook group. I'm actually in that already. So if you're not in it, I recommend joining their group. So we have our antennas. We'll go ahead and pop those on. Now it looks like a little robot. We have our shoe mount. So if you want to get crazy and mount this to your camera, you still can, but this actually feels heavier than my camera. So I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but we have our booklet with all the good information on what to do. And we have a USB-C to USB-C and a USB to USB-C. So let's go ahead and check this out a little bit, maybe try to set it up and see what the settings look like. Let me get this off here so you guys can see the screen a little better. So there's our audio meter, we got our time, 2K, 4K. It's very sleek. The touch screen is very responsive, which I like. It's very bright. I don't even know if this is all the way up. I believe we're running some type of Android as well. This looks like an Android autoface, and even tells me things like temperature, how much CPU it's using. We have Bluetooth, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, so you can even record in 4K. You can change your frame rate, storage settings, so you can either do SD card, or it looks like you could plug in a hard drive via USB-C. So if you're doing very long streams, you could actually connect to like an SSD hard drive or something, so all your data is going there. We got all sorts of different fades, wipes, transitions, things like that. So overall, looking at this device, it's very sleek design to it. It's not too heavy. I was kind of joking how beefy it is, but really, if this thing can do all they say that it can do, this is pretty awesome. Like to be able to have basically a full live streaming option in this compact screen. So I'm gonna just throw out some specs to you. This screen is actually 11.2 inches. It's 1,000 nits of peak brightness. They're claiming that the battery life can last up to 10 hours. Again, for us, you know, we're usually just trying to power in type things like this, but that's good to know that let's say we forgot the charge the night before and we're only at 50% battery, you can probably get through a whole wedding ceremony very easily regardless. Who is this device for? Well, if you're someone who's looking for something all-in-one, that's definitely what this is built for. Someone who doesn't want to have to mess around with different things or having to bring a computer with to live stream, that's really like who they're gearing this towards. So that could be podcasts, and maybe you don't even live stream, but like, let's say you do a multicam podcast and you just want to be able to edit on the fly. And again, you don't want to worry about multiple screens and multiple cables running everywhere. You can do that all from here. And so you would have to wire in if you're using things like a Sony mirrorless camera or a Canon mirrorless camera, but you can also connect this wirelessly to cell phones. What is really cool about all these extra features is it doesn't compromise the battery. This is actually the longest lasting battery they have in one of their devices. A lot of times when you get brighter screens, bigger screens, nicer screens, you have to compromise battery. This battery actually, I think, is almost double what the other ones say they do. This also features ISO recording, which basically ISO recording means that you can not only record the final essentially mix or stream that you did, but it can also record each individual file in its more raw format. So this and the Ultra are the only ones that can actually do that. The other YoloLives have not been able to do that, and a lot of the competitors do not have that option as well. Since filming the unboxing, we've gotten to test the YoloBox Extreme in different scenarios. So far, my favorite use case scenario for the YoloBox Extreme has been for podcasts. Having someone be able to watch the multiple cameras has been a time saver and can also be a production saver. What I mean by that is now setups we used to do for podcasts that were required a minimum of 2 people could possibly be done by 1 person, because that 1 person can now see all 3 cameras and monitor audio at the same time. One cool feature of the YoloBox Extreme is the auto cutting that it can do as well. Now, we haven't found this to be perfect for podcasts. We're still trying to figure out the kinks to make this work well for us, but it is a possibility and it is a good backup plan. Let's say you can't be managing the screen the whole time. At least you know that maybe 70 to 80% of the edit could already be done for you automatically. But it's really nice to be able to change tolerance for when the camera switches, and even better, that when both sources are making noise or no noise, you can set an action to stay on a different angle. So when it comes to podcasts overall, I would say this is a device that we want to keep in our kit and use at all times when it comes to podcasts. It's not perfect in some of its execution, like the auto switching, but it's good enough for what we need that it saves us a lot of time on post-production. It's also just very impressive and cool to show a client, hey, here's all the angles in one place for them to review on the big, beautiful 11-inch screen. The next place that we tried out the YoloBox the most was weddings. For those that don't know, we have spent a lot of time live streaming weddings over the years. One limitation that we ran into with the YoloBox Extreme compared to our old setup is the ability to use professional level cameras. Now, of course, we can always HDMI wire everything in, but when you're talking about a wedding where there's possibly hundreds of guests running around, we can't have a bunch of wires running everywhere. And a lot of these weddings, we have to set up and be able to tear down very quickly because we have to move on to the next location. So we need everything to be wireless for this to be efficient. And unfortunately, it's not quite there yet with professional setups. Now, what we were able to find is a wireless HDMI device that we could run into our cameras and use that way. This ended up being the best, but again, the connectivity of these were not as strong as something like a Sling Studio with the built-in native gear that goes with the Sling. But this was a good alternative, and I could see it working really well if you need that wireless option and you have to use cameras that are using HDMI. Now, the really cool thing that the YoloBox Extreme offered that we didn't have with the Sling Studio was the ability to connect using NDI Connect. Basically, NDI Connect allows you to connect phones as well as other wireless cameras that support NDI Connect. So this ended up being super useful for us because we were able to just hide random phones throughout the venue space in order to be able to get multiple camera angles that maybe we would have not been able to get with our professional Sony Alpha cameras. But if I was recommending to someone who was just starting out when it comes to live streaming weddings or any other kind of live event, the YoloBox Extreme is going to be the best option for them. You're not going to find a better option out there to have a small footprint for a live event. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope it was extremely helpful for you. And if you want to see what a final product looks like out of the YoloBox Extreme, be sure to check out my podcast. If you didn't know, we have a podcast. It's called the Almost Creative Podcast. And for the last half of episodes we've been utilizing the YoloBox Extreme. So if you found this video helpful, please be sure to give us a subscribe. And until next time, stay creative.